You're tuned in to Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors podcast. Waterfowl hunting and conservation is our passion. We cover everything outdoors, from the blind to the banks. Come along with us as we hunt and fish our public land reserves and bayous throughout Sportsman's Paradise. Tune in for interesting interviews and takes from much of the industry's most intriguing outdoor companies, content creators, guides, and historians as we discuss various topics as they pertain to our pursuit of waterfowl and everything outdoors. This is Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now here's your host, Jacob Robery.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new episode of Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Robery, and guys, tonight it is good to be back with all of you. We just wrapped up teal season here in Louisiana and down south, and tonight, guys, I'm excited because I have another guest on the show with us tonight, a guy that I've been looking at sitting down with for quite some time, that I've been watching on social media, a young man by the name of Mr. Thomas Smitherman. He's from Selma, Alabama, and those of you who know that name probably know him from his outdoor channel called Holler Outdoors, guys. So we are welcoming Thomas in on the show tonight with us. Thomas, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Dude, we could not be any better right now. It's hump day. We're a little bit closer to the weekend, and it's opening weekend for us here in Louisiana, man, for small game. So squirrel hunting's a big thing down here in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard. A lot from Biscuit.
Yeah,
me and Biscuit are good buddies. He's been talking about them squirrels. I guess y'all like to hunt them squirrels. We hunt them every now and then around here, but it don't seem like we're as into it as y'all are down there.
Man, I tell you, we being from Louisiana, you ever come down here, Thomas, make a trip, which you need to come down here and hunt with us. We'll take some tree rats and we can make you up a good rice and gravy, man, some good food with it.
Heard that, man. Heard that. My granddad, I can still remember as a kid, he'd call my dad on the phone and be like, hey, bud, you mind going and shoot me a few squirrels? And I'd take them to him. He'd clean them and put them in a crock pot. And
absolutely.
It was good eating for him. I've eaten a few of them, but I'm not too big on them.
Yeah, it kind of freaks a lot of people out, man. They say, well, it's just a rat, but I tell people, I say, hey, it's no different than a rabbit or something else. It's a vegetation eater. And I promise you, when we cook it, through the years, we have cooked squirrel for a lot of guys from out of state. They come to hunt camp, or they'll come down here and visit, and we'll have a supper, get together, and we'll cook squirrel. And once they eat it, they're like, hell, man, that was amazing. I want to go ahead and start hunting them now so I can start cooking them. So trust me, they little, but when you put a pot of them together, you can make a hell of a meal and feed a lot of people with them.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Y'all season y'all stuff down there for sure. That's what I was talking about with Biscuit. Me and Biscuit were talking about Creole seasoning. I like to use Creole on certain things. He's like, man, throw that stuff in the long grass. Yeah. I didn't know what long grass was. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he texted me and he was like, it's Louisiana term for throw it in the garbage.
Throw it in the garbage. Yeah. Well, they got a guy down here who's a creator on social media. I forgot. He goes by Big Hoss or something like that, or something similar to that. But that's his slogan he goes by. Throw that in the long grass, man. So he'll get on some people when they have certain recipes that he's making fun of. Kind of he duets them, and then they go at it, watches them cooking, and then he gives his comments. It's pretty good stuff, though.
Okay, I got you.
Well, hey, man, look, I know we talked about we heading up the interstate tonight to meet you, man. Selma, Alabama, dude. Now, I'm a Louisiana boy. I'm right here outside of Baton Rouge. I'm an LSU Tiger fan, and you're not too far from Tuscaloosa. I know you're about 30 minutes or so, you told me. So what's the Tide looking like this year, man, after that early season loss? They bouncing back?
Oh, man, yeah. We took care of business in Georgia last week. That was great. Nerve-wracking game for sure. I think Ty Simpson has really turned out to be a really good player. Now Vanderbilt, oh man, dude, Alabama is not good with running quarterbacks, misdirection, coming to town. I'm going to the game this Saturday. Vandy's coming to Alabama for college game day, and man, I'm nervous because if you just look at Alabama's recent history, man, running quarterbacks, misdirection, fake here, toss. And Pavia, he's done it. He's been in the league or been in college football, it seems like 20 years. The sucker's got it under his belt. He makes plays when you think the play's over. I'm just nervous, bro. But I think our offense, as high-powered as Ty Simpson's been, I think it'll be a shootout. So if you're betting on that game, take the over because I don't think Alabama's defense is going to stop them the way I would like them to.
Well, we'll see, I guess. But yeah, Vanderbilt's kind of scary, man. They always a laughing joke, the SEC. But this year they got something. They can maybe compete with some teams this year. College football this year is kind of fun. And Thomas, I said there's no real dominant team, I don't think, because you look at like Ohio State, you look at all those guys, those teams up there. They don't really play the teams that the SEC does with all the. We're in a stacked conference now. It's different, man. It's just different. But I don't find that there's anybody that's really just dominant this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's ever since that that portal's open and the NIL, man, it's even things out a lot. They ain't handing out money in McDonald's paper bags no more like they used to do under the hood there. It's out there and the money's getting spread out and it's taking talent all over.
That's it, man. You're right about that. So it's going to be an interesting but a good football season. So it's always, whenever you have football season, that always means it's hunting season, and you can't get a better time of year, in my opinion, and I'm sure yours too. But, hey, look, the reason I told you I reached out to you, I really wanted to get you on the show for some time now. I'm a huge fan, man, of yours personally. I think you're a stand-up young man coming up in the outdoor industry, man. And you really, to be honest with you, Thomas, you're a voice for the outdoor industry from a younger generation, if that makes sense. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about, your background kind of, obviously we know you grew up in Alabama, but a little bit about yourself coming up maybe in the outdoors. Were you raised in the outdoors with your family? Who got you into hunting? Kind of talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. So first of all, thank you for letting me on here. I appreciate it. So yeah, my name's Thomas Smitherman. I'm from Selma, Alabama. Growing up, I was never allowed technology. My fun was outside. That's how I was raised. That's what me and my dad were either working in the yard or we were hunting something somewhere. That was the fun. So like if we go cut the grass or do yard work, the fun is we're going hunting after. That's what I did. I didn't have any type of tablet or none of that until I was way late into high school. So, if it was a Monday, it's summertime during when school was out, I'm outside the whole day. And if I'm inside, my parents would always say, that's a grown folks conversation going outside. Like I was outside so much that you like learn things from being out there. Like things like I can make all kind of animal noises with my mouth just because I was outside so much, had the BB gun running around, bird hunting, squirrel hunting, whatever I could find, with a BB gun throughout the day. And that's what I did. That was my fun growing up. I didn't know any different. And, it was really like getting me into hunting. It was always my dad. My dad is just, when he was a kid, they were really, really poor. He lived in a brick house, no air conditioning in it. They kept the windows open pretty much year round, dirt poor. But he was proud of everything he had growing up. And they pretty much ate everything that they shot growing up. That's what their food was. I didn't eat deer meat. I'll tell you this. I did not eat hamburger meat from a cow until I was 10th grade, high school.
Wow.
We process deer meat is processed in a hamburger, cube steak, whatever. I've had deer spaghetti. I've had deer beef stroganoff. Deer meat has been in my household growing up. That was it. There was no hamburger meat, no beef. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wasn't running to McDonald's to pick up a hamburger.
No, everything we ate was from, what we shot, like Dove seasoned Dove poppers wrapped in bacon, duck poppers. It was just always that way. And like I was saying, growing up around here, it's a small town. There wasn't much to do. You're either riding dirt roads in the summertime with no seasons in, and then in the wintertime you hunt. That's what you do. Just like spring turkey season. That's what we look forward to. College football and hunting. That's what I've always looked forward to, because there's nothing else to look forward to around here. Yeah, my dad definitely brought me into the hunting industry early. I shot my first deer when I was 6 with a 223 that had a shaved stock. Dad took a saw and cut the stock off of it for me so my short arms could reach the trigger, and I shot a little doe when I was 6 years old. And I've just been out there. If it wasn't hunting, I was in the yard, because I don't know. It's just I was raised so old school. Like there was
sounds like it.
Yeah, like outside. If it's daylight outside, I ain't sitting in the house. That just wasn't happening.
Let me ask you this, because I can't tell you how freaky it is listening to you explain how you grew up, how it was compared to the way I grew up. I grew up in a poor family as well. from a small town, didn't have a whole lot. My parents didn't have a ton. They didn't do without, but they didn't have all the extras. Yeah. And growing up, when I grew up, it was very similar to the way you just described it. Let me ask you this, Thomas. In the world we're in today, what you see out there in the outdoor industry and in the world in the bigger picture, the great grand scheme of things, how did being raised the way you were raised and growing up that way, how did that prepare you for the world that we live in today and what you see in the outdoor culture today, since you're such a huge outdoorsman?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't need all these things that people think they need now. I mean, me and my dad and my granddad were out there in Walmart camouflage, having success just like somebody in name brand $1,000+ gear. I never was taught to need any of that. So like I don't need a bunch to survive. I don't need a big fancy house. I don't need a big fancy gun. I don't need any of that fancy stuff, because when I grew up we didn't have it, and it worked just as good as anything else somebody else has. So, and that was one of the biggest things, when you're a kid, your eyes are like, man, that dude has something cool, and you ask your dad, can I get that? And he's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why you need that for? Mm-hmm. And, comparing what you have to somebody else, that's one thing my dad harped on me about, man. He really burned that in my brain is worry about yourself. Don't worry about nobody else. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. If you focus on yourself, you ain't got, you're in the right place right there. So it's really just, growing up that way, it makes life a lot simpler because I don't need all these things. I don't constantly feel like I got to have this new shotgun. I got to have this new gear. Man, our great granddad's not. My granddad to this day, he wears a daggone button down, little shirt, little heavy jacket, I guess, little flannel, I guess. And
yeah.
He goes
That's
hunting
the
in
old
a
school
flannel,
look.
button down flannel and some blue jeans. That's what he wears to this day. And when it's cold, he wears full coveralls. And if it's real cold. Yeah. I mean, you don't got to have, that's one of the biggest things, man. Like I said, and one thing that people got to understand is everything is about money. No matter how you put it, all the way up to the highest part of government to outdoor, everything is motivated by money. So think about all this stuff that comes out. Okay, we're going to jack these waiters up right here to this price. So only these people in this tax bracket can buy them, can afford it. Well, they're going to buy it as a social status to say, hey, I got this on, look at me, and you don't. And that's kind of, I don't know why hunting's turned into that. I do know why, because social media has made it to where it's, I got this and you don't. I got this and you don't. Like a lot of times people will say things. That's what I've said on TikTok before too, man. People will say some crazy things over the phone or texting you or something, but they would never say it,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like we kind of talked about this, and you kind of hit me up on something I was involved in recently, with social media. I think a lot of people want to say stuff, and you hear it all the time in the politics side of it. I think a lot of people want to have a voice and an opinion, but they have too much at risk, they feel, to actually voice that opinion. And whether that means it's a product that they sell, they feel like they have to be able to play it cool with everybody in order to move more product. And then you got people out there who aren't associated and aren't tied to anything specifically, and they sit back and they listen and kind of see the way everything unravels now, and then they come out and they say something, and everybody kind of wants to chime in. At that point, it seems like everybody's okay with piggybacking on top of somebody else actually saying it, but they don't want to be the ones to actually come out and say it sometimes,
For sure, man. Just off some of my videos. I mean, I wouldn't say I do it a lot, but a lot of times I'll throw out a hot take out there, something that I know when I say it, somebody else is going to disagree, and there's going to be people that agree. But in the end, it really doesn't matter. If you get your message out, who cares if they like what you said or if they didn't like what you said? At the end of the day, who cares? You got what you wanted to say out, and that's what you wanted to say. So you should be happy, with that result, not worrying about what everybody else had to think of it. You just told the world what you wanted to say.
Exactly. That's well said. Let me ask you this: do you think a lot of the stuff you see on the web and on social media and all that from either content creators or people that are on videos and stuff like that, you think a lot of the people actually believe the stuff that they're preaching, or do you think it's done for alternate purposes? Because I get that question a lot, and a lot of people say that. They say, "Oh, they just want to stir the pot. They just want clicks. They just want likes. They just want sales of this product." What's your thoughts on that, Thomas?
I think it really depends. So a lot of times as a TikToker, we call it rage bait. Like you just throw something out there crazy that you know is going to get a reaction. Like you purposely post it to get a reaction. So I've made videos to where I already know a lot of people are going to disagree, but it's actually my opinion. Like I actually agree with what I'm saying. I'm not going to speak on something that I don't agree with, but now I may have an idea that a lot of people don't think this way, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Yeah.
But now there is people out there that'll just straight up come out of left field with some nonsense. Like, oh man, dude, there's some guys on TikTok. I'm not gonna name drop none of that, but there's some few guys in the waterfowl industry that say some things about certain decoys and this and that and the other, and I'm just like, huh? Like what, buddy?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I don't say nothing because I'm not. That's their opinion. If it's not their, I don't even know if it's their opinion. I think they're just literally trying to
I
get
do.
interactions, but that's not what I stand for. But I do think it's kind of funny when I scroll across one of those videos and it's like complete nonsense. But at the same time, it's like, dang, what if a new hunter came in here and just watched this? They're trying to learn, and you're over here trolling rage bait on the
Mhm.
TikTok, and now they
Yeah.
think what you're saying is true, and they try to apply it.
That's the danger side with it. Whether you're on TV, you're on social media, wherever it is, that's the fine line that we walk. I'm sorry, as creators and anybody who's creating any kind of content. And how many times we hear people that are on social media say, "Well, social media is killing this or they're killing that," and these people that are making these comments are on social media. And the way I kind of see it, and I had this conversation with multiple people, is whether it's social media, whether it's TV, which most of the TV now is consumed through social media. Let's just be honest with you. Nobody really has cable subscriptions where they watch the outdoor channel very much anymore, or channels like it used to be provided to you. But that's just the world we live in. That's the way the data and the entertainment is delivered to us now. So it's really never going to go away. I don't think it's going to ever go backwards. It's only going to progress and move forward. But going back to the way you were raised, Thomas, and talking about those humble beginnings, the way your parents raised you, not coming from a lot, not having a lot. We do see a lot of the marketing. And this episode, we really wanted to talk about kind of, waterfowl hunting on a budget, and not having to have all this stuff that's being pushed in our face to be looked at as a successful waterfowl hunter. And let me ask you that question. Let me start there. Do you feel that a lot of waterfowl hunters nowadays feel that they are looked at by their peers as a good waterfowl hunter or somebody who's not a good hunter based on the clothes that they wear, the guns that they shoot, the gear that they have? Do you feel that way? And kind of shed some light on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So when I was 16, I got a John boat with a 25 Yamaha on it. This ain't no all well John boat. This is just a
Riveted
John
John
boat,
boat.
a pond John boat.
Yep.
And I was given that. I got it for Christmas one year. It was my great granddad's boat. I redid the whole thing. My dad bought me a motor for it, Yamaha 25. Got it when I think it was my 16th birthday. All right, well I get this, and I'm going hunting here, hunting around Alabama, and I've shot my fill of wood ducks or whatever, and everything's going good. Well, then I decided to take this boat to Arkansas. So I drive to Arkansas, and man, when I get there, living in a small town in Alabama, you don't see all these crazy looking nice boats. Like, most of the time, if I pull up to the ramp, it's going to be a few other John boats and, maybe one guy who pulls up with a nice rig. Man, when I pulled up in Arkansas, I looked like, I just felt like everybody was looking at me. Like, it was like everybody's got Havoc Reapers, like Uncle J Customs. I'm like, oh my. And I didn't pull this tin can all the way from Alabama. And I was like, holy crap. So, put in everything. I was proud of my little rig now. Backed it on in there and, did what I was going to do. I didn't care. And hunted up there for a week. And it was rough on me that first time up there because I didn't know anything. It was you know, first time ever feeling. But yes, do I felt like people judge you off of what you got? 100%.
Yeah.
If and it shouldn't be that way, but I mean, like if somebody saw that little tin can rolling in there with a plate from Alabama, they're probably like, this dude right here don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like perspective type deal. You don't know that guy, that dude right there may have been hunting all his life. He may be dang good. Maybe he just don't have the money you got. The thing
Yeah.
is, a 16-year-old or young kid could have their dad or something buy him a brand new Uncle J custom boat, and be out there and not know what they're doing. But a same kid who's 16 could have been hunting since he was 4 years old and be a freaking duck hunter with an Uncle J custom boat.
Absolutely.
You can't just look at somebody and immediately be like, okay, this guy's not good, or this guy don't have on Sitka, so he don't know what he's doing. Like, you can't do people like that. You don't. I mean, so quick to judge, man. It's like that old saying that everybody says, "Don't judge a book by its cover," because you really don't know until you hunt with somebody or sit there and share stories with somebody. You really don't know how much somebody knows. I mean, it's just like that on social media too. Like, some creators on there, TikTok, whatever, they may sound like they know what they're talking about or whatever, but until you really get to know somebody and talk to them in person, all that stuff, it could be a whole different, change in vibe, and uncover a whole leaf that you're like, dog, I thought this guy knew what he was doing. And, it's
Yeah.
just, you just can't judge somebody based off of what they're shooting or what they're doing. And I mean, that's just in life in general, man. Don't judge nobody based off of what they got on. You don't know what somebody's been through. You don't know what somebody's currently going through. You don't know how good
Well,
that person is because you're immediately writing them off as soon as you meet them, just because of the shirt they got on.
yeah, you're exactly right on that. What something that was rolling in my mind, while you were saying that, is nowadays I find that a lot of people come to media platforms, whether it's social media or wherever, YouTube, that type of stuff, and they come for educational purposes, which is why a lot of us, I think a lot of creators, if you look at the waterfowl industry, it's a small portion of the pie overall when you look at it outdoorsman. But I think a lot of people, whether you're into deer hunting, whether into waterfowl hunting, fishing, whatever it is, a lot of people go to these areas to be able to learn. And I think a lot of creators are educating people out there. How much do you see? How much do you think you talking about, hunters shaming other hunters for or judging a book by their cover? How much do you think the companies that are actually making the product are marketing towards that type of stigma in the industry today, as far as them wanting to kind of create that atmosphere of, well, if you don't have this, you're not really considered a hunter? Do you think that they kind of market to that as well?
I mean, I think pricing waiters and clothing in general, just because you're that company and you can, like, overprice something just so your consumers can have something, and that makes it a status symbol. But you look at the company like, heck, if I'm selling something for 1,000, even if the thing ain't worth 1,000, from a money standpoint, why would I not? If people are paying me for it, why would I not? Like, the thing is, it's just kind of, people have these trends and these things that are cool and they're expensive, and people love things like that. Everybody wants something expensive and say that I got this, and it's just kind of how a lot of people are. Me, I don't care, and
Yeah.
that's just how I was raised. My dad's, he's always, since I was little, never care what anybody else has got going on. Worry about
Amen.
yourself. So I never look at, oh, this guy's got this, I wish I had that. And if I do see something going down the road, like Biscuit made a video about this the other day. If you see something you want, use that as motivation. As, okay, this guy has something cool, I can go get that. If I work hard, I can go get that. That looks, change your perspective a little bit. But yeah, the companies that do it, man, the thing is, it's not the company's fault. I mean, if somebody was handing you $1,000 for something that actually cost you $5 to build, why
Yeah.
would you not? I mean, as a company making money, you
Yeah.
can't blame them. It's the consumers at fault, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. They're putting the option out there, and it's the consumer that's driving that. As far as that, but why don't you see more low end stuff being marketed that's affordable? Now, I'm not talking about cheap, like not good equipment, but stuff that's more affordable. Is it because it's a higher profit margin, in your opinion, with the high end stuff, or what do you feel there?
Um, like I said, man, it just goes back to what other people are wearing, man. People care so much. Like, if you turn on YouTube right now and you clicked on any random company, most of them will have sitcoms. Some of them are going to have Shin on. Some of them are going to have, most of the big companies, if you look at any YouTube video right now with a big name person, they're going to have
Mhm.
Sitka or Shin on. And
Yeah,
that's what guys see. When you turn on YouTube and you look up mallards in the timber, they're going to be wearing Shin or Sitka every time. If you
yeah,
find a big, and I think
yeah.
those
Big.
companies are, what they're doing is, they're sponsoring these channels. Oh, you wear my gear, I'll give it to you. So your 952,000 subscriber channel, all those kids and everybody watching that, oh, they see you got Shin on, they see you got Sick on, and it's genius marketing by the
It is.
the company.
It
But like
is.
I mean, a smaller brand, like that has better pricing. They can't afford to just hand out all that to those YouTubers
Yeah.
and give out all that product. And I think if there is companies like Timber Gear. Have you ever heard of Timber Gear? They're kind of
Yeah.
up and coming.
Oh yeah.
So they're making waders for blue collar people. People
Mhm.
that aren't way up there in the high class. They're making them affordable, and they're not trying to make a huge profit. They're just trying to for the working class people
Yeah.
and making some good gear for them. Anybody who's watching this, y'all need to go check out Timber Gear, man. They I've talked to that guy. I actually met him in Memphis at the Ducks Expo,
Okay.
and I actually met Andrew with them. And that's a really good dude, man. They're good people over there, and they're not trying to make you break the bank and make a huge margin of profit. They're doing it for the right reasons, and that's what I was telling you earlier. Anybody who's doing these things, the drive is because you're doing it for the right reason. You will make it out. But when you're just doing it to make $1 here or to get a like or a few reposts, whatever here, you have no drive to keep you going. You know what I'm saying? And with
Yeah.
them doing that to help out people, to help the working class out, they have a drive and they have a purpose in what they want. It's not just about the money for them. So I think they're going to be really, really good in the near future.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. I think we need more of that out there. I think we need more marketing towards the affordable brands to the average working man. Because look, we're living in a time where the cost of living is some of the highest it's ever been in history. Everything's going up but paychecks nowadays, pretty much. Uh, and let me ask you this, based on that, because I get this question a lot. I get a lot of my friends. They'll say, "Man, I look at these guys at the boat launches, and I look at them. Man, how the hell do these guys afford this? How do they afford a $30,000 tugboat? How do they afford, we're not picking on any particular brand, but say Shin waders. How do they afford, a Benelli Super Black Eagle 3? What's your take on that? Because you, especially, and I'm gonna go back to you're a gentleman of a younger generation coming up in this sport. How are guys your age, Thomas, affording that type of equipment? How are they playing that game?
Bad financial discipline. That is exactly how, bro. There's
It
no way
has to
around it.
be.
Dude, I
Has
got buddies with $30,000 duck boats. One of my best friend has a $30,000 duck boat. I mean, I'm not gonna give out all his information, but he like when you buy a $30,000 duck boat at the ripe age of 18 to 20 years old, so you got this payment, so your savings account's immediately shot. You're paying this out of your money, and then you got your truck, got your vehicle. I mean, it was like one of these things with this buddy that I'm talking about. I'd always tell him, yeah, I got this much saved, whatever, I'm doing all right. And he'd be like, shoot, dude, I ain't got nothing. I'm like, well, heck, you got a truck, you got a $35,000 custom boat. I mean, that's where we differ. You're paying this much on this boat, and it's just bad financial decisions. Now, as bad as I want to, I would love to go out and buy one, and I think I'm probably gonna get one in the spring. But I think where guys are messing up is back to that need thing. They want that sucker decked out with speakers and lights, and because that's what looks cool on the YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you would just go get a boat and a motor and wire the lights up yourself, or if you don't know how to wire lights, just get the light bar. All you need is a light bar, a boat, and a motor, and you can make everything else work. You ain't gotta have like my buddy. We were talking about the price of his boat and everything, and like the boat, the motor, and the light bar were like 20-ish grand right at, and from there that was 20 grand right there. He could have been all right. 10 grand was added for speakers, lights. That's it. 10 grand. Like,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
really think about it, that's a lot of money for just, and they're going to upcharge that anyway with any boat dealership that's doing all that.
That's
And
it.
it's just a thing, man. It's just bad financial decision. And I know it's,
Yeah.
it's hard for me too, because I see everybody else has got them. And
Dude, I get that question all the time. People ask, they say, man, I see these guys, and how the hell do they afford it? And I don't know. I mean, you're exactly right. It's bad financial decisions, or spending daddy's money, maybe, maybe that's I tell them sometimes. I say maybe that's the parents' way of making sure that they stay out of trouble by funding what they want to do to keep them from other type of activities such as the drugs and the alcohol and all that type of stuff. Then maybe they'd rather see their kid in outdoors doing something like that and they're willing to pay for it. than, if they didn't have a hobby, in other words, something like that. But that's always been a topic of discussion, that it's like, man, how the hell are they affording all this type of stuff, And, you were talking about people, we were talking about a little bit about educating and online, people going to social media and platforms like that nowadays. If you could give somebody who's maybe wanting to get into duck hunting some advice, and they're going to, say, YouTube or TikTok or somewhere like that right now, how do you tell the difference between a genuine and, I don't want to say, I hate the word influencer, but in some cases that's oftentimes the case. They are an influencer. How do you find somebody that you could trust on social media if you're new to the sport, Thomas? Coming to say, okay, this person is genuine. This person seems to know what they're talking about. And I think that, they got good information that I could come back here for to kind of continue learning what I'm trying to learn.
With TikTok, I'll speak on that. A lot of times you can just read somebody's comments. If they make a video, especially making a statement about duck hunting, and it's invalid, and sometimes if it's like a controversial thing, obviously don't look at it. But
Yeah.
if you see somebody post just about something, in the duck hunting industry that you're trying to learn or figure out, if you just open up the comments, and what I like to do is see who's commenting what. Like, say this guy right here disagrees, click on this page, check out what he's got, see if this guy, because it's just hard because everything is so. Somebody can, like right now, I can say that I'm a professional bull rider. I can claim that. I'm making that claim right now. I'm a professional bull rider, 3-time world champion PBR. How do you know that I'm lying to you? You have no idea because we're through a screen. You know what I mean? You don't know any, like that's what's happening. And I've never really gotten asked that question. So I'm like, oh, I don't really know how to tell neither, because the best thing to do is use context clues. Like, yeah, look at his comments. But then I'm like, well, dang, if he looks at his comments, some of my videos have some crazy comments on them. And it's like, well, dog, if somebody's new to it, they're looking at my comments, they're gonna think I'm a fraud. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'll be honest.
Well, let me ask you this on the flip side of the coin. How, as somebody who has a platform where a lot of people are following you right now, Thomas, how do you stay genuine to yourself, to your culture, where you grew up, your upbringings, and how do you stay genuine to the sport itself of waterfowling?
Oh man, I just know everything that I've given can be taken away in a few seconds. That's one of the
Very
biggest
well
things.
said.
Stay humble, man. I didn't deserve any of the fame that I've gotten. The 21,000 people that follow me, I did nothing to deserve that. It just kind of happened and fell in my lap, and I've ran with it, and I'm grateful for it. And every day, I'm just, it's crazy because I felt like growing up, my voice, I never really had a voice, and you gain this voice on social media that people actually see you. Like, I had that video that hit 1.6 million views, and I was like, bro, that's more people than I've seen in my lifetime. Like, I've never even seen that many people.
Absolutely.
And it's really, if you sit down and think about it, man, it's like, it's nuts. Like, 1.6 million people heard me say that. Like, that is crazy. And it's just, it's just being humble, man. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't deserve any of that. I just came on here and started talking about, how I was raised and what I like to do. And it just kind of happened. And man, I thank God for it every day, because it was,
No,
it
go ahead.
was, it was like a point in my life. Like, I don't know how to really word this, but I've never said it out loud, but it was like, I was working and it was like, gosh, there's got to be more to life than this. And like, dang, something worth doing. Like, man, I'm out here working all day in this mill. Like, God, this is rough. And then, I've been praying about a direction to go. Like, what direction should I go in? And then all of a sudden, I ended up getting sick, and I was out of work for 3 weeks. So I'm like, oh man, I'm so cooked. I'm not gonna have a paycheck. I'm out for 3 weeks. Um, I was just upset, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out here and make a TikTok one day. Well, I made one, and then I made another one, and then by about the second week of being off, I was like, heck, I'm fixing to just spend all day. I just started making a ton, and I didn't have nothing else better to do. I couldn't go to work. So I made more and more and more. And then next thing I know, I jumped to 10,000 in like a month. I'm like, holy
Oh,
crap.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And yeah, it was crazy the way it worked out. And
why TikTok? Why did you start with TikTok? Why, with so many platforms out there, a lot of guys go straight to YouTube. Why did you go to TikTok?
So I had a YouTube channel prior to this, and YouTube is just so hard to get traction on, man. Like you
It
can
is.
post a video that you spent 5 hours editing on and making it right and get 13 views for 2 years straight. Like I have a video I made, it wasn't even with hunting, it was the thing I did in college, a little gaming, like a gaming little thing, whatever.
Mhm.
And it's been up for like 2 years, it's got like 13 views.
Yeah.
TikTok is the easiest app to reach an audience quick. All it takes is one video to hit just right, and you can go from nobody seeing your face with the people you know to 1.6 million people seeing your face. All it takes is just to hit it right. So TikTok to me just seemed to be the most viable option to get my name out there and to get that publicity that I was looking for if I was going to try it. Because Instagram, like I said, Instagram's hard, YouTube, everything is hard to build, but TikTok can happen in the snap of a finger. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen on TikTok, people will post this, like it'll be like a wife or something. She'll say, I blocked my husband, go follow my husband on this account. He's doing this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
Well, then she'll tell at the beginning of the video he had 2,000 followers. Then you click on his page, that sucker's at like 40,000 followers in
I
like
know. It's quick.
3 days.
Yeah.
It's like wow. So when you're seeing that on TikTok, it's like if these people can do it, this person's going viral, this person's going viral. My best option is to go to TikTok.
Yeah.
And my biggest struggle right now is trying to get my traffic to other platforms. Now I
Mhm.
got a decent following on TikTok. Trying to get them to YouTube and Instagram has been tough. Like I
Yeah.
got like 6 YouTube videos, 15 minutes plus videos. I got 3 dove hunting videos out. I got bass fishing at tournament. I got all kind of stuff out. But
Mhm.
like the most views I think I've got on a single YouTube video is like 1.4 thousand. And
Yeah.
I can post a video on TikTok and get a thousand views in like I don't know 2 or 3 hours. So
Yeah. If that.
yeah, it's just hard. It's hard to and I've been kind of a struggle because it's hard to continue doing something when you just feel like you're not making much progress. Like my
Gotcha.
TikTok, obviously it's going good, so I'm excited. But like YouTube, it takes me 2 hours worth of editing, and then I
Mhm.
make a full video, and then nobody really sees it. It's like doggone,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
put a lot of time into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean there because it is a lot tougher on that platform, to make it. But I was curious because that's great for people who maybe are coming into the sport that are looking to make their voice heard. Where to start and maybe a good place to start. So that's great information. I think you shared right there. Something else you said that really caught my attention. You said when you were looking to kind of get started in this thing, Thomas, that you prayed about it. You leaned on your faith. You said a little bit about kind of where to go. You're at a crossroad almost in your life at that time. It sounds like. How important was faith in the outdoors in your family coming up? Did your parents share that with you? Did they preach to you about how important God was in your life, just in your life in general? And did that carry over to your outdoors activities with your parents?
Oh yeah, for sure. Growing up, every meal, everybody sat down at the dinner table. It didn't matter. There was no eating in the living room. There wasn't no eating in your bedroom. Everybody sat down at the dinner table. We said a prayer before we ate our food, and then once all of our food was gone, whatever, then we could get up. That's how it was growing up. When it was dinner time, everybody. Church. When I was a younger kid, we all used to go to church, and then my aunt took me a lot. And then as I grew up, I got into high school, and you know how you are when you're in high school. You think you're bulletproof, and you're just badass guy, and you kind of just drop everything, and I'm this guy, and whatever. So I go to college and uh, get into college, and then it was one of those things. It was like you start struggling, and you're like, dang man, I nothing's fulfilling you, and then like I said, I was working. I'm still working the same job. I'm an industrial electrician, and I
Mhm.
mean it's good work. I'm not like I don't complain, and I'm grateful for the job. It's just like I just felt like there was more, like that there had to be something bigger out there for me to do. Like this could not be it. I mean, and in that point, there's nobody. I mean, yeah, you can talk to somebody, but talking to somebody only gets you so far because they're just going to give you opinions on what they think you should do. And a lot
Exactly.
of times, everybody's going to have something to say, and it may not be the right opinion or whatever. So, I prayed about that. I prayed about that hard for weeks because I just didn't know where to go. Like I knew I wasn't really happy where I am, and
Mhm.
but also at the same time, I needed the money, and I was grateful for the job, but man, I just needed something. And it was like the way all that kind of unfolded. it was actually crazy because I was so aggravated about getting sick like that, and
Mhm.
oh man, I'm missing work, and then it ended up being a blessing in disguise that I didn't even see happening. But yeah, growing up,
Do
faith
you
was
ever
faith was pretty big.
you ever thought that God might have led you down this path?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely think so. Now that everything's coming to light, because originally it was like this blurry picture of me scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. Where do I go here? What do I do now? What's the right way? And it's kind of turned into there's no right way. This is just me on here doing what I do. It's like
Exactly.
I'm just going with it, man.
It's you being you, and that's what's great about it. And like I told you, that's what attracted me to wanting to sit down and have a conversation with you. And although you have 20 some, what is it, 20 some thousand followers on TikTok,
21,000. Yeah.
21,000 followers on TikTok, there's probably people who still don't know who you are. And I think people need to hear your story. And that's why we're sitting down and having this conversation tonight. So we kind of got a little bit of your background, your upbringing. We know where you came from. We know a little bit about your family history now. How you got involved in outdoors. We kind of know where life led you when you hit that crossroads in your life, and you said, hey, there's something out there better for me. I want to do this outdoors thing full time. But growing up in Selma, Alabama as a waterfowl hunter, talk a little bit about that area as far as the waterfowl hunting in those areas. You're not too far from from the Alabama River. Tell us a little bit about waterfowl hunting in your region, if you don't mind, and then we'll kind of delve into kind of where that's brought you to make some trips out of state.
One word, wood duck. Wood duck nation, son. You got wood ducks. Buy as many wood ducks as you want to find. There's plenty of wood ducks. There's a couple like hooded mergansers that come through. Occasionally some teal, sometimes, but most of the time, if I'm going hunting, we're pretty much targeting wood ducks because that's about the only thing to target. Specifically because I'm in central Alabama. We're not in any part of the flyway here. We're just kind of in the center of the state. And yeah, wood ducks. Now I've had some great wood duck hunts. I mean, I've really done good on the wood ducks. But the thing was with like wood ducks, the reason I wanted to venture out of state from Alabama is because you can't really work a wood duck. And I mean, I know you can work a wood duck. You can't work a wood
I
duck.
know. I
You
know.
know what I mean? Like some days you may can get one to circle back and land, and some days they got their mind made up and they're gone.
Absolutely.
So you turn on YouTube as a kid or as a 15, 16-year old and you look up duck hunting, you don't see anybody shooting wood ducks in a timber hole. You see green, whack, whack, whack,
That's
whack.
it.
You're like, what the heck? So it just like opens your eyes up to whoa. This is not Alabama duck hunting is not that crazy. This is crazy. Like in Alabama, you don't see widgeon, you don't see pintail, you don't see like it's like almost I was living in this little bubble,
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
I got on social media and saw all this other stuff that was out there. So, I was thinking I was that guy, burning these wood ducks up until I was, 15, 16 years old. And then I start
Yep.
looking around and I'm like, I'm not that guy. I don't even know how to blow a mallard call.
So obviously we know the waterfowl hunt's not great where you at, and at some points you saying, hey, it's time to make a change. Is social media kind of where you went, Thomas, to say, okay, what else is out there? You had to be clicking at some point saying, maybe I'll take this on the road and go somewhere else. And obviously it sounds like you kind of went to maybe social media, and then from that point on, how did you decide where you're going to start going? And let me ask you this: how many years ago was that? Whenever you decided to kind of hit the road and take it elsewhere, take the show on the road?
Okay, so I can vividly remember the first time I ever watched Arkansas mallards in the timber. I was at one of my buddy's house, and we had actually we called it Duckmas Eve. It was we'd hunt
Let's see.
Christmas. Yeah, it was the night before Christmas or the night before duck season. We called it Duckmas Eve. So we'd stay at my buddy's house. We wake up in the morning, go shoot wood ducks, whatever. Well, that night or either that morning, I can't remember which. We turned on YouTube and we watched duck hunting and at this time, like I told you, I didn't really have much social media at the time. I had very limited,
Yeah.
So when we watched this, I was like, that ain't wood ducks. This is crazy. They're communicating to these birds. So once I pretty much saw that, That was wraps. I was going. I got
Yeah.
that boat when I guess this was probably 14 when I was talking about duck
Mhm.
receive and all that. I
Mhm.
guess when I turned 16 and I got that boat, man, I was gone. I
You
mean,
were
I hit
gone.
the road immediately, and Arkansas was the first place because the duck capital of the world. Go to Arkansas. Go to Arkansas. Go to Arkansas. That's the
Exactly.
main thing you see. So I shoot my tail up there, green to even big duck hunting. Don't know nothing about big duck hunting. I got me six woodies and maybe six mallards I probably found forgot from somebody. My dad's old ones, I believe. And I go up there, man, and it ain't easy. You look on YouTube and these guys are burning the barrels off green heads and piles big as the front of the truck and all this, and then you get there and it's like, whoa, huh, this is not how I thought this was gonna go. We hunted
What?
for the first time up there. I hunted for 6 days and we shot one greenhead on
Oh
the
wow.
last day on
Wow.
hunting green timber. And yeah, so then it pretty much expanded from there. So the next year I skipped out on Arkansas. I'm trying to remember where I went. I went to Mississippi that next year. And we did better in Mississippi. And then my buddy was like, dude, I know some places in Arkansas. We'll go back there. So this is, I guess I'm 18 now. So we go back to Arkansas and we figure some things out. Uh, the thing with me, though, is none of my buddies or me had a big, fancy, fast boat.
Mhm.
We figured out how to find birds without doing that because that's what I did the first time. I went up there to the big MWAs and
Mhm.
uh, yeah, NWRs and all that kind of stuff, WMAs, and hunted out there. And man, up and that's just nuts.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to figure out. That's one thing as a duck hunter, you got to figure out what your capabilities are and what you can do, especially if you're hunting crowded public land like Arkansas. Like I had to figure out what my boat was capable of and what holes I could actually get to. So the way I had success in Arkansas was going to far, far away spots. That wasn't a boat race. That wasn't a run race. It
Mhm.
was somewhere where nobody else wanted to walk, where nobody else wanted to pull their boat through 6 inches of water.
Mhm.
It was the hard stuff, and that's how I eventually had success in Arkansas and how I've done it for the last few years.
Do you feel that those hunts, those type of hunts, the hard hunts, like you said, the stuff that nobody wants to do you feel like if you're giving advice to somebody, that's what they should focus on?
Oh yeah, if you're new and if you're a new duck hunter, um, and you want to learn, work birds, and try to be away from everybody else, the best thing you can do is find a hole far off the beaten path as you possibly can. If you're new to running a boat and all that, you don't want to be boat racing somebody down the river. Especially if you're in somewhere like Arkansas. Now, I wouldn't tell a fresh hunter, new duck hunter to go to Arkansas to begin with.
Mhm.
I wouldn't. I would tell them to go um, anywhere but Arkansas, really. Anywhere in the flyways but
Why?
Arkansas.
Why is that?
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts in Arkansas. Arkansas is one of the most packed out, and it doesn't matter. It don't matter what ramp you go to, what time of year. It's just always insane. Like I don't think I've ever hunted Arkansas, maybe a handful of times where there wasn't at least 10 people, 15 people trying to put in at the same time. Like
Gotcha.
lines, like in Arkansas, you got to be in line at the boat ramp at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And you can't put in. I mean, you can put in, but you can't go in the sloughs till 4:30. So it's just, man, it's
Well, hey,
just
what if I told you it's like that here in Louisiana, but we don't have the ducks that Arkansas has held, in the last decade or so? Because that's exactly what it is here in Louisiana, Thomas. I don't know. I know you talk to Biscuit a lot, and Biscuit, he could probably tell you that, but it is like that here. Public land here in Louisiana is one of the most crowded. It's become one of the most crowded places I've ever been. Now, I've never been to Arkansas to hunt. I've seen the videos. I've seen all that the boats running over each other, and I'm too old at this point. I'm like, man, I don't want no part of that. That's a young man's game. I'm not in it for that anymore. But Louisiana, we wake up 12, 1 o'clock, and they got guys sitting in, on the WMAs. They're not supposed to enter till 4. They got guys that are taking risk, getting out there at 1 in the morning on some WMAs. And we don't even get the birds that we used to get. So it's pretty insane, man. But it's like that here in Louisiana too. That was kind of my point I was going to make. But continue about Arkansas. I'm sorry. I wanted to let you know kind of it's like that here too as well.
yeah. So Arkansas for me, man. If you're a new hunter, I wouldn't fool with it. And I'm saying this as like you're not used to running a boat and you're not really used to hunting around a lot of people and trying to figure your way out, I would say Arkansas is for people that kind of know what's going on. Because the
Mhm.
people, in my opinion, like it's pretty cutthroat out there, man. I mean, it's pretty, there ain't no helping. I mean, I was 16 years old. I asked in the Arkansas group chat one time at 16 on my way to Arkansas, "Hey guys, any tips would be great. I'm headed from Alabama to Arkansas." I
Oh
got
wow,
flamed, boy, and I don't
I
think
can
it would have
imagine.
mattered. I don't think it would have mattered what state duck hunting group that was. I believe if it was in Louisiana, I'd still get flamed. But that was just the thing. The thing is about Arkansas, it's so, and it's not just Arkansas people you're hunting against. You got people from Alabama, South Carolina, every other state. Everybody goes to Arkansas,
Yeah,
and the thing is, Arkansas is not even the duck capital of the world anymore, in my opinion.
I know. Well, what? So, before we got to go back to that in a second. What was it about Arkansas, the first trip you took, that for new hunters out there that are maybe thinking about going? What was it that shocked you the most? That was what you had in your mind, kind of set you thought it was going to be, versus what it reality actually was on
Well, based off of videos, what most people are seeing on YouTube is ducks everywhere. Like you would think with that many ducks you see in a YouTube video that it wouldn't matter where you got as long as you were in Arkansas.
it.
And
Yeah,
that was farther from the truth than I'd ever seen. I mean, like you could drive for miles and miles, and still to this day, I've never been during Arkansas split because why would I go during a split? Because I'm out of state or I want to hunt. But I've never found birds sitting in a hole in Arkansas. I hunt
Mhm.
birds based off their flight path in Arkansas. That's how
Mhm.
I do it. I'll go out there late in the afternoon or early in the morning the first day I get there and watch what the birds are doing because
Mhm.
you ain't gonna find them in the Arkansas timber because they're getting busted at from the time they open their eyes until the time they fly away from that public. So,
Mhm.
that's I mean, new duck hunters, you don't really get to learn how to find the X and how to call the ducks because in Arkansas you can't be as loud as you can in other places. Can't really
Yeah.
work birds because they're call shy. And you got other people sky busting your birds. So even if you are doing everything right, you got groups over here. I mean, it's just for a new duck hunter. If you wanted to go and hunt birds unpressured, my best advice would be to go north. And what I mean by go north is go anywhere north where there's water that's in the flyway. Because
Mhm.
those people up north do not hunt like we do down here. I've seen
Yeah.
it firsthand.
That's what
I
I've
hunted
heard too.
oh man, I hunted a state 2 years ago. Dude, I mean we burnt the barrel on birds. Every day we were
Mhm.
there, we burnt the barrel. We saw maybe two other groups of guys on this entire public land up there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and there was
I got a couple of buddies that have hunted certain areas up in the flyway, and exactly like you said, they said, "Man, we'll show up to a wildlife management area, and there's like one truck, two trucks, and that's it." They said that's all you'll see all day, out there. And he said there's birds just flying, sitting on
dude,
water, resting, and we wonder why down south we don't. There's a million different reasons, whole different topic. Everybody got an opinion on why we don't see them down south, but yeah, those birds ain't. There's no pressure on them. That's the thing I hear that often kind of resonates with me. But he said that there's just no pressure on them.
oh yeah, that's 100%. I mean, they're not getting shot at every single day. And like I say, Arkansas may have been, back in the duck capital of the world thing. Arkansas may have been at one time the duck capital of the world, and maybe by numbers it still is.
Mhm.
But to me, when you have that many people hunting birds, maybe you are still shooting the most greenheads out of the country. But
Mhm.
it's so divided up. Like it's
Good
not
point.
like you can go there with your buddies right now in 2025, this duck season. I drive up there. The odds of me shooting a crate, people used to go in there and shoot 15 mans like it wasn't nothing years ago, back in the early 2000s or even before that, 1980s, man, they'd go in there with 15 guys and limit out just piles of birds. It's not like that anymore. The birds are all spread out and yeah, so I think, my opinion, the duck capital of the world now is Missouri.
Missouri.
Missouri is right there in that belt, and in that belt is crop fields from east and to the west.
Mhm.
Ducks got habitat, and what confirmed that for me was last year, January 19th, on the Missouri River. I have a screenshot on my phone. Ice cubes floating down the river, and hundreds of thousands of birds sitting in a frozen river. And you're telling me those ducks are eating off those icebergs right there? I wasn't born yesterday. They're eating somewhere, you
Mhm.
know. That tells me right there, they still got a food source. January 19th, with freaking icebergs as big as vehicles floating down this river. Something's going on up there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% correct on that. They hold into that area for a certain reason. And look, it's plain and simple that if they don't have to migrate down south, that why come any further south than where they at there?
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of guys say that, Thomas. Missouri is the spot. And we don't want to put Missouri on blast and send a bunch of hunters up to Missouri because Missouri, all the guys who may listen to Missouri, they're going to hate us. But no, you're right. I mean, it's nothing that you're saying that other people haven't said as well. They got food source. They want to stay.
The thing is about Missouri, though, it's mostly draw anyway. So I think most public land hunters stay away from draw states. That's one of the biggest things. Is like I was thinking about going to Tennessee this year. I looked at it, and I was like, "Holy crap! This whole state is a draw. I will not be going to
Really?
Tennessee anymore." Like
I
there
have
is
no
places
idea.
in Tennessee. Yeah, there is places in Tennessee you can hunt. But my thought is, if there's anybody like me who don't want to participate in a draw, that place is going to be slammed because everywhere else is a draw. If they didn't get drawn, they're going to be on this one piece that's not draw. So I was like, there's no point in me even attempting that. And that's just like Missouri. Most places in Missouri are draw or guided, So I won't be hunting Missouri, not this year anyways. So I did like a pay hunt or something. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of birds there, but those states that are draw like that are tough, man.
Gotcha. I got a two-part question for you. I'm curious. What's it take to be a good waterfowl hunter in 2025?
The first thing is being flexible. And what I mean by being flexible is based off how the birds are acting, you have got to make a change. When I first started duck hunting, I would sit there from daylight till time to get done hunting and watch the birds skirt my spread or land over here or not work in without changing anything. Just watching them do it all day. You have got to be proactive. If a bird's acting a certain way, there's a reason. You got to go out there and move your spread around. You got to figure out what in the world's making them do it. Because you could sit there all day and have every duck come do the same thing, and you're wasting your time. You got to go figure out why these birds are acting a certain way. Whether it's in your calling, whether it's in your spread, whether it's the wind you set up wrong, you got to figure it out. And that's one of the biggest things I think people mess up on. They'll go hunting, be like, well, the birds just wasn't working today. Or we saw a bunch of birds, they just wouldn't come in. Well, did you change anything about what you had going on? What were you presenting? Did you change it? Some days birds like loud, obnoxious whack, 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 whack. Sometimes they eat it up. Some days they don't hardly want you to call at all. It just
Yeah, that's
depends.
right.
And a lot of times what I'll do is that first group that flies through, I always start off soft because you can always be soft. But the minute you holler at them and they flare, that's it. So
Mhm.
start off soft on your calling first thing that morning. See how they react. If they want a little louder, up the tempo a little bit. But don't start off at that top end volume and flare your birds off. Just kind of, I like to let the first spread really just work. Maybe a little feed chuckle and just see how they're working the spread.
That's good advice. I do the same thing because I always say read the birds. And I'll tell people that in videos I do, I'll say you have to learn how to read the birds. But then there's people that have messaged me and they said, what the hell does that mean? Because they new to it. They don't know what the hell that means. Read the birds. So I kind of explained it. I delve into it and I explain it, and but you're 100% right on that. You have to kind of adjust, adapt. I always feel, and I've been guilty of this, I always feel that hunters a lot of times, and we're talking public land here for the most part, because in the history, I've been guilty of this myself. I'll hunt a spot and not the birds, the ducks themselves.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is traditionally I'll look at a spot and I'll say, okay, that spot looks good. It should hold birds. And I won't see no signs of birds. I won't see birds in the hole, but it looks so good that you just say, okay, there's got to be birds there. And then you go make that hunt and no birds because there hasn't been birds holding to that area to begin with. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it is good. So what I say, we hunt, oftentimes we get in a habit of hunting the spots and not actually finding the birds where they are and want to be at. We're not very successful when we do that. That's kind of what I've always told people,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
I still
a
believe
great
that.
tip. Yeah, that's a great tip for sure. That's one of the biggest things for new duck hunters. That's what I try to tell them. When you first start hunting, you got to be where the birds want to be. When you first start hunting, number one, you're not going to be really great on the call, but if you're where the ducks want to be and you got some motion and some decoys, you're gonna. And if you got a good hide, you got some motion in your decoys. I can pretty much tell you if you saw 150 birds sitting there yesterday morning and you didn't bump them or scare them off, if you got some motion in your decoys and you're hid well, you're going to shoot. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just if they want to be there, if there's something, some food source or whatever they're there, they got, back feed from a daggum cow pasture that has corn or whatever is flowing into the water out there. There's something they're eating right there. And if you can get there as a new duck hunter and don't go to the left, to the right, don't go to what's convenient, go to where the birds were sitting. That's another big thing. Guys will be like, well, the birds were just down there 150 yards. Well, why are we not down there 150 yards? Oh, because
Mhm.
it was a hard walk or whatever. No, bro, we go into where the birds were at because that's where they're coming back to. And
Yeah.
yeah, new duck hunters, you're not going to be trafficking birds when you first start. You're going to be decent on a call. And I always suggest learn the mallard, the Drake whistle, if anything. Like at least have that. That's
Mhm.
not hard to learn. You can practice that, a
Yep.
couple days before the hunt, and at least just have that. And sometimes that's the best call you can do because nobody picks it up.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to scream.
That's it. And that or a teal whistle. I tell people if you're in an area that has a lot of teal whistle, you can do so many things with that as well. That's great advice to start with. So I asked you the question, what makes a good hunter? And I thought you answered that really well, to be honest with you. But let me flip it a little bit on the other side of the pillow, like my mom used to say. What makes a good sportsman, in your opinion?
Somebody who's out there not just to go out there and harvest something. Somebody that's out there with their buddies, enjoying being out in nature, man. Like that's one of the biggest things. Like I've talked in TikToks before. The best time of the day is when everything's waking up, man. You hear one bird from over here make the first sound, and you hear one bird from over here. Then you get the crows when the sun starts to come up. And man, it's just appreciating being able to be out there. It's not about whether or not we shoot a 5 man of birds today. We're out here fellowshipping together, hunting, enjoying it, man, making memories. And so many people focus on the, shooting something. Man, just be happy. Be grateful that you had the opportunity to be able to go do this with your buddies. A lot of people don't get that opportunity or weren't raised the way we were and, didn't
Mhm.
have those chances. Maybe they're born in New York City. They never get to experience those times like that. And I mean, obviously, more to it to add to it, ethical stuff. If you do harvest something, don't play with it, don't fool around with it while it's still alive. If it's still kicking, go ahead and dispatch it. It's one of the biggest thing that really, really bothers me is when somebody fools with something that's still alive and kicking, man. Like seeing anything injured.
Absolutely.
And I have a horror story from that. And the reason that it bothers me so bad, when I was like 9 or 10, dude, I made a bad shot on a doe and I
Mhm.
hit it in the spine.
Mhm.
And my dad handed me the knife and was like, "Well, this is part of it. The doe's sitting there hollering, she's hurting." And he's like, "This is part of it, dude. You're going to have to learn when you make a bad shot, go finish it off." And as a kid, 8, 9 years old, however old I was like, "Oh man, I feel so bad for the poor animal." And I
Mhm.
went ahead and cut its throat and all. And Dad told me that's how you do it. You don't sit there and leave them. And that's one of my biggest things. After seeing that, that's really instilled in me growing up. Like, if anybody's playing with anything that even looks like it's still alive or kicking, man, put that. Don't. It's not funny. It's not a joke. Put the
Mhm.
animal out of its misery because it's literally in pain while you're playing with it or putting a chain around its neck and all that other nonsense people do now, man.
Well, how do you feel? And I want your perspective on this because you're of the younger generation of waterfowl guys coming up and just outdoorsmen. I'll say outdoorsmen in general. How all the stuff that we see now with the trends, the quote unquote trends that are being put on social media nowadays. What's your thoughts on that as far as being from the younger generation? Is that normal to you as far as, some of the stuff you see on social media? Is that something that you see as a no problem, no big deal at all on some of the stuff that's out there? From let's just say the majority of the content that you're seeing out there on these these things that's going on. What's your thoughts on that? I'm interested to know from a younger perspective.
I think to me, trends are fine as long as they're not harming an animal or the trend is playing with an injured animal or anything that harms anything. Like just a trend about, I mean, you've seen the guys in Louisiana actually, they'll put on all their Sitka gear and do that dance at the gas station in the morning time. That's
Yeah.
fine. Go ahead. That ain't
Yeah.
bothering nobody.
That's
You
not
know,
not at all.
Yeah, so it really depends on which trend we're talking about. Like some trends are funny and they're goofy, and it's fine. It's not showing the hunting community any disrespect or any wrongdoing. Really, it's just it's funny and it's whatever. But then there's
Mhm.
also trends that aren't okay, and that's like every year in the last, I don't know, every year, but I know last year that video was going around with that gold chain hanging around that wood duck that was halfway alive.
Yeah, yeah,
and
correct.
and I made a video on that, like, because I don't want to see that this year. That's not cool. I mean, nothing about that poor animal that you got suffering in the seat of your truck with a gold chain around its neck. That's something that you don't want to teach younger generation, that that's okay to do, or that's funny, or that's cool. Because now, like I said, everybody's looking at each other. So, oh man, this guy's cool. He's cool, but he did this to a duck, so I'm gonna go do this to a duck because this guy did it. Like, that's
Yeah,
just how things work. Like, all it takes is one, famous person that somebody sees as famous or a leader to do one thing. They're like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do it, and the next person, and then it turns into a trend, like you're saying.
yeah,
Um, it really depends on what the trend is and what
I agree.
it's doing.
I agree. Because you want to keep the sport fun. You want to keep it fun. You want to keep it, you want to get people involved, obviously. So a lot of new people coming to the sport, they want to have a good time and they want to make it fun. What I always teach my son is that you got to keep it respectful. I did a video recently, not too long ago, on respecting the harvest, I called it. We're out there, taking the life of an animal, whether you're a deer hunter, a duck hunter, whatever it is, a fisherman, if you're not a catch and release fisherman, whatever it is. And there's a right way, in my opinion. My daddy always taught me that growing up, to respect that kill. You treat it with respect, and then of course you don't kill just to kill. You have use it for food purposes, culinary purposes, that type of stuff. And as long as that, and just me being a little bit older guy, as long as that type of stuff is respected, then yeah, I have no problem. Look, some people get super mad about pile picks and all this stuff. That stuff don't bother me. Now, maybe in the sense of where a picture's taken or something like that, that could affect the way I feel about it sometimes, because is it done in a respectful manner, or is it done for just attention,
Yeah.
and what's crazy is, as a social media person that creates content, I've heard, and you've probably heard, well, so you guys are ruining the sport. You guys are ruining hunting, basically, is what's happening. And the same people that are yelling that are some of these people who don't necessarily have a platform as far as a channel goes, or a show goes, or a talk show, or a podcast, anything like that. They're just hunters, but they're posting pictures on social media platforms that don't make them look very good. And
Yeah.
yet they're telling us that we're ruining hunting or ruining the sport. I find it so ironic that they have that willingness to go that far.
Yeah, man. I mean, like we've talked about before, people are always gonna have something to say.
Yeah,
They're gonna say what they want to say, and you're right. You have your right to your own opinion, but the thing is, you got to pick your poison. What you're gonna complain about? Are you gonna complain because we're on here trying to push the right thing, and tell show people the right ways to do things, and kind of help guide people into the right ways to do things? Or are you going to complain when somebody's shooting your swing ducks because nobody taught them any different?
true.
It's like one of those things. You got to pick your poison. You're going to complain about one or the other, but people are going to complain anyways, no matter what you do. And that's the thing. Like I was telling you earlier, man. Just push what you believe in. Push with your morals, and if you believe in it, say it, and don't back down from anything that you want to say.
Well said, man. Well said. I agree with you 100% on that. So, no, that I think you're correct on everything. You're well grounded in that area too. So, look, as we get close to wrapping up right here, what's going on this year, man? What's the plans? When's duck season kick off for you? Did you have a teal season? Anything like that?
I have been dove hunting. That's my kind of pre-duck season. We
I'm
don't get
seeing
many.
that.
Yeah, we don't get many teal around here, but I dove hunt, and that's my target practice for the duck season. Getting back, ready to go. As far as this season, I plan on going to Illinois for my first time ever duck hunting. I've never duck hunted up there. I
When's
plan
that
on
kicking off?
That's gonna be the week before Thanksgiving. I'm headed to
Okay.
Illinois. And
Okay.
then the week after Thanksgiving is going to depend on how we did the week before Thanksgiving. Because, like I've preached on my channel before, you can't really decide where you're going hunting until you know where the birds are at. Well, every year's different. Yeah, maybe last year, December 1st, they were already in Arkansas or whatever. But this is a whole new year. We don't know when the cold push is coming. We don't know when the snow cover's coming. So
Exactly.
after I hunt Illinois the week before Thanksgiving, I'm gonna come home, eat Thanksgiving with the family. Reflect on the trip we had in Illinois, what we thought the birds were doing, and then we're gonna decide where we're hitting next. We're going again, and then when I come back from Illinois, I'm headed to Oklahoma or Kansas, around December 8th, somewhere in there, and I'm staying there until Christmas time. One of those
Okay.
places up there, Oklahoma or Kansas. I'm staying between those two states, maybe over, back maybe I don't know really, man. Like I said, it's all kind of in there. Like I'm thinking Kansas and Oklahoma, but at the same time, man, it's like one of those things. Like I can't tell you exactly because I don't know. It's gonna depend on the birds. We may be more
You,
south. We may be in Arkansas. It's
that's
just
a
gonna.
wise man. You available to go when you got to go, and you're going to go where you got to go.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was a weird opportunity that arose this year, and it's like I'm actually going to be able to. I'm not just going. Okay, well, I got a week vacation here. I got to go and just hope it's good where I pick to go. This year,
Correct.
I actually get to find them. I actually
Yeah.
got time to go find some birds this year, so
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that because anybody who works a normal job knows. Oh man, well I got 5 days. I'm fixing to pick
Mhm.
somewhere and hope for the best. You don't got time to scout. You can scout as little as you can after
That's
you get
it.
done hunting. But if you only got 5 days, you ain't finna spend 4 of them scouting.
That's it.
So this year, I'm going to be able to actually figure out what's going on and find them, and I'm super excited about that because I've never had the time to be able to actually go scout. Like
That's awesome.
these big companies that do this for a living. Like everybody wonders, like 24/7 hunt or all these people that hunt public and beat them down.
Mhm.
Man, the whole season they are scouting and hunting. They got hours while you're at work. They're scouting birds. That's how
Absolutely.
they're going and beating the birds down every weekend. Heck, if
Yep.
you have that much time to scout, you're bound to, find them. So I'm
Yeah.
excited this year. I'm really excited because I feel like with the amount of time I have, if I don't find them, it's my fault.
That's right.
So it's
Yeah,
going to be pretty
you
cool.
told me a while ago. Well, before we got on air, you said you kind of made a deal with your dad. Tell everybody, share that with him. You kind of made a deal with him about hunting season, and then if it didn't work out, you and him had to talk about that. You said,
Oh yeah, so my dad is very, like I've said, y'all know the introduction to me. My dad is very old school. He's raised me very, very old school, and one of his main rules is you don't leave a job until you got another job. That's one of the things he's preached to me since I can remember. And man, this year with what happened with my TikTok, it kind of, got to 21,000 followers, and it was like, holy crap, maybe I can actually do this. I started the YouTube, and I was like, Dad, I really want to try this. I'd like to, this is what I love. This is my passion. I'd love to turn this into some type of career if possible. And me and him talked, and another job came up, and he was like, well, why don't you just take this job? And I was like, Dad, if I ever take that job that's paying that good money, I'll never actually chase my dream. If I'm making over 100,000 a year, who's going to quit that job and go chase a dream?
yeah,
So I was like, Dad, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. So I'm gonna do this until January, and the kind of deal we have is I have enough hours to get my journeyman's license in electrical. So that was our kind of deal. So if I'm not doing right by January, if I'm not making the kind of money to sustain me and make it livable, even if it's not crazy, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make a bunch of money. I'm
yeah,
just trying to live and do this for a living. So yeah, so even if it gets to January and I don't have the money or, I'm not as popular as I'd like to be, I'm going to continue doing the outdoor stuff, but it's going to be alongside with another electrical job, which is fine either way because it's going to be a fun winter and I'm excited.
Mhm.
So however it falls, it's going to be fun and I'm really, really excited about the future, either whether I
Man,
have to work or whether I don't.
that's awesome. That's awesome for you, and that's awesome that your dad is letting you take that opportunity to go out there and live your dream. In my opinion, I think that's awesome, man. Yeah, Thomas, you are wise beyond your years, young man. And I don't know if you even realize it right now at your age, and you probably shouldn't, but you are extremely wise beyond your years. You are grounded. You are a phenomenal person. I could just tell by talking to you. And man, I can't thank you enough. You've kind of enlightened me in this episode. just there's some stuff that I took out of this episode that you kind of helped kind of put in perspective for me as a creator, as a host of this podcast. And man, I'm honored to call you a friend now. And I thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on with us tonight and not only share your story, tell us about you, but let us get to know you a little bit better and my audience tonight.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed it, man. I appreciate you letting me come on here and getting kind of meet you too, man. Yeah, if we can get together sometime this season, I may can try to shoot down there if I can find a few days in my schedule. Because I mean, I don't got nothing to do. I'm gonna be looking for birds. So if
Well, I can tell you this: if you come down here, we'll get together. If you want to take a trip down to Louisiana, we'll get us and Biscuit and his boys together. And if y'all don't mind the old man running with y'all, if I can keep up, we'll make something happen. So that offer is always on the table. I can promise you.
Oh yeah, man, that'd be an awesome time. That'd be an awesome time.
That's awesome, man. Well, look, as we wrap it up, where can people find you? Obviously, we know TikTok. That's one place. Do you have any products? You talked about merch earlier. Tell the audience where they can find you, what you have available through Hook and Holler, and we'll go from there, man. How they can reach out to you if they ever need information.
Okay. So obviously TikTok, Hook and Holler Outdoors. I'm Hook and Holler Outdoors is my handle on every social media, Instagram, YouTube. My YouTube, man, is what I've been trying to put a lot of time in. These are my hats. Hook and Holler Outdoors. That's my logo. You got the fish and the horns, man. I got shirts out. I got hoodies. I got sweatshirts. I got long sleeves. I got a new hat actually dropping soon. But yeah, man, Hook and Holler Outdoors on YouTube, no spaces. Y'all go check that out. I got some videos on YouTube. I got some dove hunts, 3 dove hunts on there. And that's really what I've been trying to focus is the YouTube. I put a lot of time into that. So if y'all would go check those out, I greatly appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. Well, look, Thomas, thank you so much, buddy. I know I took enough time out of your schedule for the week. Thank you once again for coming on to Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors podcast with our audience and me. We wish you the best, buddy. Anytime you need something, you reach out to me anytime. I'll be happy to help, and I wish you the best this season, buddy. I'm going to follow along. I'm going to keep watching like I do, and I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm going to pick your brain on certain things, man, and I invite you to do the same with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, and go Tigers. Give me a little go Tigers before we get out of here.
Roll Tide, buddy. Roll Tide.
I had to get you, buddy. Well, hey, look, good luck this weekend in the game. I know you're going to the football game, so I hope y'all pull one out, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. You take care of yourself. You have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too.
Okay. Guys, that was an enlightening episode for me. I'm going to be honest with you. That young man right there, Mr. Thomas with Hook and Holler Outdoors, he's I think you guys, after listening to this episode, you'd have to agree he is very wise beyond his years. It's a breath of fresh air to speak to him, to be honest with you. Actually, this season, I made a point to, reach out to a lot of young, up-and-coming, outdoorsmen in not only Louisiana in my home state, but also I want to talk to outdoorsmen across the flyways. Let me say that. Let's just keep it simple. And have them on and hear their stories and get their perspectives, because I think that as a waterfowl hunting community, we need to hear each other's, opinions. We need to get to know each other a little bit better, me included in that, because he said it perfectly in this episode. We have a tendency to judge a book by its cover. And we also have a tendency to follow the trends and follow what we see, marketed to us as waterfowl hunters on social media, on any kind of digital platforms, any kind of audio platforms that are out there nowadays. And we just, heard a story and his background of how you don't have to have the most flashiest, the most expensive gear to be a successful duck hunter in 2025. It's something that we all know in the back of our minds, or those of us who have been around long enough, at least we're able to realize that. But for a lot of people that are coming to the sport, they don't know that. They don't know that, hey, if I have, this, I could still go out there and I can still have fun and harvest birds and be successful. And what is successful? What is success in the world of waterfowl hunting nowadays? So, having these personalities and these people, these friends of mine that are becoming friends, of mine, getting to know them, and for you guys to be able to be introduced to them and get to know them, or maybe even if you know them, to get to know them in a different perspective with some of the questions that I ask them. Man, it's moving. It's really moving to me, and I've been doing this a while. And I've had a lot of guests. I've had big names in the industry on with us. I've had small creators. I've had small personalities and individuals that are just true outdoorsmen that love it. And every conversation is unique. And you run into certain people that really, really kind of move you in different ways, and that you end up becoming friends with for a long time. And that's what this platform that I have and this podcast has been able to do for me personally as an outdoorsman and as an individual. And certain people that I'm drawn to that, I say, hey, I want to sit down and I want to have a conversation with this person because I think they're unique. And I think that they're trying to progress this sport in a positive way. And I think that their story needs to be heard. And Thomas with Hook and Holler Outdoors was one of those people. And I wanted to have him on this episode. So I can't tell you how much I enjoyed him. I can't tell you how much I think it's going to benefit other people to hear his story that are interested in not only waterfowl hunting, but maybe the outdoors, and kind of his story and where it's got him to. And not only that, but also how his faith. We talked about faith on our platform here recently, and how that plays a factor in what we do in the outdoors and our content, that type of stuff. But it was refreshing to hear him talk a little bit about his faith and how he was brought up, the way he was with faith being involved in it, and kind of where that led him to with his success that he's had with his company, Hook and Holler Outdoors now. Really enjoyed this episode, guys. I thank you guys so much for coming along on this journey with us on this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you stayed with us through the whole episode, I hope you enjoyed this conversation and you'll share it with your other fellow outdoorsmen. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening to us on audio form on your favorite platform, whether that's Apple or iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, wherever it may be, if you enjoyed this episode, go share it with your friends. Share it with your fellow outdoorsmen, waterfowl enthusiasts. We would greatly appreciate it. And you never know what type of message is going to get through to somebody when they need it the most. And also, if you're watching this right here on Facebook or on YouTube on our channel in the video format, do the same. We'd encourage you to do the same. And we appreciate it, guys. We appreciate you guys greatly so much. This season so far has been a lot of fun on season 9, and we're going to keep the ball rolling as we continue to head into full-blown duck season here, guys. So we thank you so much for tuning in with us, and we'll see you guys again soon, hopefully right here on Last Stop Waterfowl Outdoors Podcast. Y'all take care, guys.